You can love someone with all your heart and still end up broken. Let that sink in for a moment. Because how many times have you heard the words, "I love you," only to realize later that those words were empty? How many times have you trusted someone who swore they would never hurt you, only to watch them become the very reason you can't sleep at night? In this generation, love is shouted loudly but practiced quietly. Loyalty is promised quickly but broken even faster. We see relationships everywhere on social media, in music, in movies that glorify passion but rarely show respect. And the result, a generation that craves love but is terrified of being betrayed. But what if the truth about love and loyalty isn't what we've been taught? What if the reason so many hearts are breaking isn't because love is gone, but because we've forgotten what real love actually is? In this video, we're going to peel back the mask, expose the lies, and discover the wisdom that shows us how to build love that lasts. Not fake love, not temporary love, but the kind of love that doesn't break you. It builds you. I know it seems hard sometimes, but remember one thing. Through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. Pain has a way of making us believe it will last forever. When someone we love betrays us, when loyalty is broken, it feels like the sun has gone down and will never rise again. Those nights lying awake, staring at the ceiling, asking yourself, why me? That's the dark night this quote speaks about. But what we often forget in those moments is that night is never permanent. No matter how heavy the darkness, the morning always comes. Think about it, every sunrise you've ever seen has arrived after a night that once seemed endless. Life works the same way. Heartbreak, betrayal, failure, and loneliness are the nights of our souls. They come uninvited and feel unbearable, but they never stay forever. The bright day, healing, strength, and a new beginning is always waiting on the other side. The man who said these words didn't live a life free of pain. He grew up in a storm of poverty, violence, and broken trust. He was surrounded by people who claimed love, but didn't always show loyalty. He knew betrayal personally. Yet even when he faced the darkest nights, whether it was losing friends, being misunderstood, or fighting battles that seemed impossible, he reminded himself that light would return. His life was proof that hope can survive even in the harshest conditions. For today's generation, this message is more relevant than ever. We live in a time where relationships feel fragile, loyalty is rare, and love is often confused with convenience. When a partner cheats, when a friend betrays, or when someone walks away after saying, forever, the darkness can feel overwhelming. But this is where the wisdom of the quote comes alive. Instead of letting the pain convince you that you're broken forever, remind yourself the night cannot outlast the day. Practically, this means learning to sit with your pain without letting it define you. Journal your feelings instead of bottling them up. Surround yourself with people who prove loyalty through action, not just words. Use the heartbreak as fuel to build your self-worth, your dreams, and your strength. Every failure in love, every disappointment in loyalty is a stepping stone toward the relationships and the future you truly deserve. The bright day isn't just about finding new love or loyal people. It's about becoming the kind of person who refuses to let the darkness steal their spirit. It's about choosing growth over bitterness, healing over revenge, and hope over despair. So when you feel like giving up, remember the rhythm of life itself: night, then day, pain, then healing, loss, then growth. Your darkest moments are not your final chapter. The sunrise is waiting. You just have to hold on long enough to see it. You can spend minutes, hours, days, weeks, or even months over analyzing a situation, trying to put the pieces together, justifying what would have happened, or you can just leave the pieces on the floor and move on. There comes a point in every heartbreak when your mind won't stop replaying the story. You sit there going over every word, every look, every love you that now feels like a lie. You ask yourself, where did it go wrong? What could I have done differently? The truth is, we waste so much of our energy searching for answers in broken pieces that were never meant to fit back together. This quote is a reminder that healing begins the moment you stop trying to solve a puzzle that no longer exists. You can spend your whole life analyzing someone else's betrayal, but all it will do is keep you stuck in the same pain. Instead, the real strength is in saying, yes, it broke me, but it will not define me. I will leave those shattered pieces on the floor and start building something new. The man who spoke these words knew this struggle well. He had friendships that turned sour, trust that was broken, and love that didn't last. He lived through nights of betrayal and days of questioning. But he understood one thing: dwelling on what went wrong would only keep him from moving forward. His life showed us that letting go is not about forgetting, it's about choosing peace over pain, progress over paralysis. For today's generation, this lesson is vital. Relationships now often fall apart faster than they begin. Ghosting, cheating, and dishonesty leave people carrying wounds that never heal because they keep reopening them in their minds. We scroll through old texts, rewatch old photos, stalk social media profiles, all while convincing ourselves we're searching for closure. But closure doesn't come from analyzing the past. Closure comes from accepting it. So how do we apply this? First, stop feeding your pain. Delete the conversations that haunt you. Unfollow the people who trigger your wounds. Give yourself permission to stop looking for apologies or explanations. Then channel that energy into growth. Start a new hobby, invest in your career, work on your health. Build yourself so strong that even the thought of what broke you no longer controls you. Remember, leaving the pieces on the floor doesn't mean you failed. It means you are wise enough to see that some things are not meant to be fixed. Broken love, broken loyalty, broken trust. They can teach you, but they shouldn't trap you. Life is too short to keep bleeding over the same cuts. So instead of replaying the story that hurt you, start writing the one that will heal you. Moving on doesn't mean you never loved. It means you're choosing yourself over the pain, and that choice is the first step toward real freedom. I'm not saying girls are perfect, because we all know that's not true. But I think it's wrong for a man to hurt a woman, and it's wrong for a woman to hurt a man. It's about respect. At the core of every relationship, whether it's love, friendship, or even family, there's one ingredient that makes it last: respect. Without it, even the deepest "I love you" becomes meaningless. Too often, people mistake passion, attraction, or even temporary loyalty for love, but if respect isn't there, everything will eventually fall apart. This quote forces us to pause and reflect. It's not about men versus women, or who is stronger or weaker. It's about the universal truth that hurting each other only creates a cycle of pain. Real love is not about control, not about ego, not about proving who's right. It's about treating each other's hearts with care, even when you're angry, even when you disagree. Respect is the line that separates love from destruction. The man behind these words knew betrayal and heartbreak. He saw how quickly relationships could turn toxic when respect disappeared. In his own life, he experienced being loved, but also being used. He gave his trust, but sometimes that trust was broken. Yet, even after everything, he still believed in respect as the foundation of real connection. For today's generation, this message is urgent. In a time where arguments explode on social media, where cheating is glamorized in music, and where people play games with each other's emotions, respect is fading. Too many people treat relationships like they're disposable. They stay until it's convenient, and when it's not, they leave scars on the ones they once claimed to love. So how do we live this lesson? First, recognize that respect starts with yourself. If you don't respect your own worth, you'll accept behavior that destroys you. Don't tolerate lies, don't excuse disloyalty, and don't stay silent when you're being disrespected. When you respect yourself, you set a standard for how others should treat you. Second, give the same respect you expect. Don't play with someone's heart just because you're bored or insecure. Don't hurt someone simply because you can. Love is not about possession, it's about protection. If you can't respect someone, then let them go instead of breaking them. Imagine what our generation would look like if we practiced this truth. Fewer broken hearts. Fewer people carrying childhood-sized wounds into adult relationships. More connections built on honesty, loyalty, and care. Love wouldn't just be a word, it would be an action, proven by the respect we show. Because at the end of the day, love without respect is just noise. But love with respect, that's unbreakable. That's the kind of love that doesn't fade with time, that doesn't collapse under pressure, and that doesn't need games to survive. Respect is love in its purest form. And until we bring it back into our relationships, we'll keep watching love die in this generation. The realest people don't have a lot of friends. You notice that? Loyalty is rare. This line cuts deep because it reflects a truth many of us don't want to face. We live in a world obsessed with numbers, followers, likes, friends, connections. But when life gets heavy, Most of those people disappear. The realest people, the ones who love with honesty and stand with loyalty, rarely have a crowd around them. Why? Because loyalty has become one of the rarest currencies in this generation. Think about it. Everyone wants someone they can lean on. Someone who won't betray them, someone who keeps their word. But how often do we actually find it? Too often, people wear masks. They act like friends when things are good, but when the storms come, they vanish. And if you're someone who values truth, who refuses to play fake games, then your circle will always be small. The man behind these words lived this reality. He was surrounded by fame, by people who claimed to be loyal, but time and again, he saw betrayal. He knew what it was like to be loved for his image, not his soul. He knew what it was like to give trust and have it shattered. And through all of it, he learned loyalty is rare, but it's priceless. For today's generation, this lesson is more relevant than ever. We chase popularity like it's proof of our worth. We think the bigger our circle, the more valuable we are. But real strength is not found in numbers. It's found in the depth of one or two people who will never leave your side. Having hundreds of followers won't save you from loneliness. Having one loyal friend will. So how do we apply this truth? First, shift your focus from quantity to quality. Stop trying to impress everyone. Stop trying to keep people who don't respect you. Instead, invest in those who show up for you consistently. It's not about who celebrates you when you succeed. It's about who sits with you when you fail. Second, become the loyalty you're searching for. In a world full of betrayal, be the one who keeps their word. Be the friend who doesn't leave when things get hard. Be the partner who chooses faithfulness when temptation comes. Loyalty is rare, but if you embody it, you will attract it. Imagine what your life could look like if you stopped chasing fake validation and started valuing real loyalty. Fewer disappointments, fewer wasted years, stronger bonds, deeper love. Because in the end, it's not the crowd that matters, it's the few who would never let you walk alone. Remember, real love, real friendship, real loyalty, it's not supposed to be common. It's supposed to be rare because it's precious. And once you find it, you'll realize you don't need the world. You just need the ones who would never betray your heart. Behind every sweet smile, there is a bitter sadness that no one can see and no one will ever know. On the surface, love often looks perfect. Smiles in pictures, hand holding in public, late night texts filled with sweet words. But behind so many of those smiles, there's a hidden sadness, broken trust, unspoken doubts, and wounds that never healed. This quote reveals a painful reality: appearances lie. And sometimes the people who look happiest in love are carrying the heaviest pain. This truth hits hard because many of us have lived it. You've smiled while your heart was breaking. You've laughed while feeling empty inside. You've told the world, I'm fine, while quietly bleeding. The bitter sadness behind the sweet smile is the cost of pretending everything is okay when deep down, you know it isn't. The man behind these words knew this duality too well. Fame forced him to smile for cameras even when he was battling betrayal, heartbreak, and loneliness. People saw the charisma, the confidence, the energy, but they didn't see the scars. He knew what it was like to look loved on the outside, but feel abandoned on the inside. His life was a testimony that appearances can deceive, and that real love is proven not by smiles, but by loyalty and truth. For today's generation, this lesson is crucial. Social media has amplified the illusion. Couples post highlight reels of their relationships while hiding the fights, the mistrust, the pain. Young people scroll through feeds, comparing their reality to someone else's far aid, and wonder why their love doesn't look as perfect. But perfection is a lie. True love isn't about hiding sadness, it's about facing it together. So how do we apply this? First, stop idolizing appearances. Don't envy what you see online or assume someone else's smile means they've found perfect love. Instead, focus on building relationships where you don't have to hide your sadness. Where your partner doesn't just celebrate your joy, but also holds you through your pain. Second, be real with yourself and with others. If you're hurting, stop burying it under forced smiles. Healing starts when you admit the truth, not when you cover it up. Love grows when it's built on honesty, not performance. Lastly, look deeper. The people around you who smile the brightest may also be carrying the darkest pain. Be compassionate. Ask the extra question. Offer your presence. Sometimes the strongest act of love is simply noticing when someone's smile is hiding a storm. Because at the end of the day, love without truth is just a mask, and masks always slip. But when two people can share not just their sweet smiles, but also their bitter sadness, that's when love becomes real. So remember this, don't be fooled by appearances. The goal isn't to look happy, it's to actually be happy. And happiness doesn't come from fake perfection, it comes from loyalty, honesty, and the kind of love that sees your sadness and stays anyway. Conclusion, when we step back and look at everything we've uncovered, a clear picture forms. Love is not dying because people don't feel anymore. It's dying because people don't value anymore. We trade depth for convenience. We trade loyalty for attention. We trade respect for temporary pleasure. And in the process, we break hearts and destroy trust, often in the name of love. But here's the truth. Real love and real loyalty still exist. They may be rare, they may be hard to find, but they're not gone. They live in the small circle of people who truly show up for you. They live in the partners who stay when things get hard. They live in the respect that keeps us from hurting one another when we're angry. What we must understand is this love without loyalty is fragile. Love without respect is toxic. Love without truth is an illusion. If you want love that lasts, stop chasing what looks good on the outside and start building what feels right on the inside. And maybe the most important lesson of all is this: you deserve it. You deserve the kind of love that doesn't make you question your worth. You deserve loyalty that doesn't disappear when temptation knocks. You deserve respect that doesn't vanish when disagreements come. So let this be your reminder: stop settling for half love, for broken promises, for fake loyalty. The world may tell you it's normal, but your heart knows better. Protect it, value it, and give it only to those who prove they can carry it with honor. Because at the end of the day, love is not about words, it's about actions. And loyalty, respect, and truth are the only actions that make love real.